Hello, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to my channel. If you are new, thank you for stopping by. I really hope that you like it, and I hope you subscribe. For my fans and subscribers, welcome back, and thank you for the patronage. I do have a new member. Thank you, Satan's little helper. And so, with my broken arm, I'm going to have to do something a little bit different. And that something a little bit different is going to be instead of instead of reading from a um, physical Bible, I'm going to be reading from a digital Bible. Uh, can you hear me, first of all? Want to make sure you guys can hear me. Pretty sure you can. Hey, Mark, can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Alrighty. So, so yeah, today we're in First Samuel, chapter 1. And starting with verse 1, there was a certain man from Ramathaim, a Zuphite, from the whole country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah, son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, son of Tohu, son of Zuph, an Ephraimite. He had two wives. One was called Hannah, and the other Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had none. Year after year, this man went up from his town to worship and sacrifice to the Lord Almighty at Shiloh, where Hophni and Phinehas, the two sons of Eli, were priests of the Lord. Whenever the day came for Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to his wife Peninnah and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a double portion because he loved her, and the Lord had closed her womb. Because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. This went on year after year. Whenever Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, her rival provoked her till she wept and would not eat. Her husband Elkanah would say to her, Hannah, why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons? Oh, way to go, Elkanah. Just guilt trip her, why don't you? Once when they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh, Hannah stood up. Now Eli the priest was sitting on his chair by the doorpost of the Lord's house. In her deep anguish, Hannah prayed to the Lord, weeping bitterly. And she made a vow, saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head. Okay, this is just creepy. Am I the only one getting creepy vibes from this? I know, right, Mark? Thank you, Marianne. Oh no, I'm just gonna, you know, give him over to an old man that, by the way, has 2 sons. No, that's not creepy at all. Sounds like it, huh, Nevermore? Hi, Big Zebra. It's just the same old story. It's just borrowed. I mean, that's how I look at it. Just borrowed shit. You know, same shit, different day, right? Alrighty. Um, hang on, Big Zebra. Um, BibleGateway.com. BibleGateway.com. And it's got a bunch of different got it's got a bunch of different versions. It's got the NIV, the KJV, the NASB. No problem, Big Zebra. Alrighty. Um, so moving on, verse 12. As she kept on praying to the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Again, not creepy at all. Just so I don't feel alone, and it's okay if I feel alone, but am I the only one creeped out by this? That Eli noticed only her mouth was moving? That's just creepy. Stay away from me, old man. Um, I can't believe I ever used to believe this stuff. Verse 13. Hannah was praying in her heart, and her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. Eli thought she was drunk. Way to go, Eli. You're a man. Yeah, why don't you just think a woman's drunk? You wouldn't think that if it was a man, but because it's a woman, you think she's drunk. Way to go, Eli. Bastard. And said to her, how long are you going to stay drunk? Put away your wine. Verse 15. Not so, my lord, Hannah replied. I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief. Well, yeah, you're right about that, Nevermore. But how creepy is it that, that an old man is looking at a young woman, spying on her? I mean, come on. All right, moving on. Uh, Verse 17. Eli answered, go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked him. Verse 18. She said, may your servant find favor in your eyes. Then she went her way and ate something, and her face was no longer downcast. Early the next morning they arose and worshipped before the Lord, and then went back to their home at Ramah. Elkanah made love to his wife Hannah, and the Lord remembered her. So in the course of time, Hannah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Samuel, saying, "Because I asked the Lord for him." By the way, parents, don't ever do this shit to your kids. Verse 21. When her husband Elkanah went up with all his family to offer the annual sacrifice to the Lord and to fulfill his vow, not sure what vow, but okay. That's another thing. That's another thing. You're like, sometimes you're absolutely fucking lost because you're like, what fucking vow? Well, he is supposed to be omnipresent and evermore. I mean, am I the only one who thinks that I don't have the whole fucking story here? I mean, either give us the whole fucking story or don't tell it. Jesus fucking Christ, people. Um, Hang on, I just scrolled past. Okay, so verse 21. Um, when her husband Elkanah went up with all his family to offer the annual sacrifice to the Lord and to fulfill his vow, Hannah did not go. She said to her husband, "After the boy is weaned, I will take him and present him before the Lord, and he will live always there." Parents, don't do this to your kids. Let your kids be their own people. Verse 23. "Do what seems best to you," her husband Elkanah told her. "Stay here until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord make good his word." So the woman stayed at home and nursed her son until she had weaned him. After he was weaned, she took the boy with her, young as he was, along with a 3-year-old bull, an ephah of flour, and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. When the bull had been sacrificed, they brought the boy to Eli, and she said to him, "Pardon me, my lord, as surely as you live, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him. So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord." And he worshiped the Lord there. Okay, aside from this being Creepsville, I just want to ask, what the fuck is Hannah doing taking him to a place with all dudes? I mean, okay, I'm not judging here. I'm not judging. Um, if, you know, if two dudes want to adopt, have at it. If two dudettes want to adopt, have at it. But at least, okay, at least in this day and age, at least you've got people who have a say in the child's life aside from the parents, right? So, but with Samuel, who I don't think ever existed, Let's get real here. All right. I don't think Samuel ever existed, but, for the sake of argument, let's say he did. You know, you're going to take your kid, who probably can't even walk yet, okay? Because he's just weaned, meaning he probably can't walk yet. And you're going to give him over to some strangers to live not even in a fucking house. Not even in a fucking house. I mean, come on. Get with the program, people. All right. Moving on. Okay. Chapter 2. Then Hannah prayed and said, my heart rejoices in the Lord. In the Lord, my horn is lifted high. My mouth boasts over my enemies, for I delight in your deliverance. There is no one holy like the Lord. There is no one besides you. There is no rock like our God. Do not keep talking so proudly, or let your mouth speak such arrogance. For the Lord is a God who knows, and by him deeds are weighed. The the bows of the warriors are broken, but those who stumbled are armed with strength. Those who were full hire themselves out for food, but those who are hungry no more. She who is barren has borne 7 children, but she who has borne many sons pines away. The Lord brings death and makes alive. He brings down to the grave and raises up. The Lord sends poverty and wealth. He humbles and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes and has them inherit a throne of honor. For the foundations of the earth are the Lord's, and on him he has set the world. All right. Hey, the freak. Just I just wanna go off topic here for a minute. The fundamentalists say the Bible is scientifically accurate. It's not. I mean, come on. The verse I just read, um, just a minute. For the foundations of the earth are the Lord's. On them he has set the world. This goes back to um, Canaanite cosmology, where where the Canaanites thought there were animals that were holding up the earth. Hell no, the freak. Right, Mark. Yeah. Alrighty. So, going back. Uh Verse 9. He will guard the feet of his faithful servants, but the wicked will be silenced in the place of darkness. It is not by strength that one prevails. Those who oppose the Lord will be broken. No. Nope. No, 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 no. This God does not exist, just in case you didn't know that. Um, the Most High will thunder from heaven. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. Um, the earth is a globe. Where are the ends on a globe? He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed. Then Elkanah went home to Ramah, but the boy ministered before the Lord under Eli the priest. Okay, so I want to go back to he will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed. There was no king in Israel at this time. I mean, this time did not even exist. Let's be real here. You know, this time in quote unquote Israelite history didn't even exist. But even by Bible standards, even if we take the Bible at face value, there is no king. What the fuck are you talking about? This does not even make any sense according to its own context. Hey, Lisa, they believe some of it. Like, they don't believe like Moses existed for for example, but you know, they do believe some of it. They probably believe the theology parts. Alrighty. Verse 12. Eli's sons were scoundrels. They had no regard for the Lord. Well, you know what? I don't have any regard for this shitty God, so I don't blame them. Verse 13. Now it was the practice of the priests that whenever any of the people offered a sacrifice, the priest's servant would come with a 3-pronged fork in his hand while the meat was being boiled, and would plunge the fork into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. Whatever the fork brought up, the priest would take for himself. This is how they treated all the Israelites who came to Shiloh. But even before the fat was burned, the priest's servant would come and say to the person who was sacrificing, "Give the priest some meat to roast. He won't accept boiled meat from you, but only raw." Okay, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. This is some weird ass shit. Verse 16. If the person said to him, "Let the fat be burned first, and then take whatever you want," the servant would answer, "No, hand it over now. If you don't, I'll take it by force." Oh, great, great. So now we've got fucking force in the quote unquote house of the Lord. Wow. Can this book get even more ridiculous and more disgusting than it already is? Ugh. All right, getting back to it. Verse 17. This sin of the young men was very great in the Lord's sight, for they were treating the Lord's offering with contempt. Well, you know, God, if you weren't such a dickhead and wanted offerings to begin with, you wouldn't have this problem now, would you? Verse 18. But Samuel was ministering before the Lord, a boy wearing a linen ephod. Each year his mother made him a little robe and took it to him when she went up with her husband to offer the annual sacrifice. Eli would bless Elkanah and his wife, saying, "May the Lord give you children by this woman to take the place of the one she prayed for and gave to the Lord." Again, don't do this to your fucking children. Then they would go home, and the Lord was gracious to Hannah. She gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters. Meanwhile, the boy Samuel grew up in the presence of the Lord. Verse 22. Now Eli, who was very old, heard about everything his sons were doing to all Israel and how they slept with the women who served at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So he said to them, "Why do you do such things? I hear from all the people about these wicked deeds of yours. No, my sons, the reports I hear spreading among the Lord's people is not good. If one person sins against another, God may mediate for the offender, but if anyone sins against the Lord, who will intercede for them?" His sons, however, did not listen to their father's rebuke, for it was the Lord's will to put them to death. Verse 26, and the Lord Samuel continued to grow in stature and favor with the Lord and with the people. Okay, so how can you say this God is omnibenevolent? I mean, first of all, you've got the flood, right? Which didn't happen. Let's be real. Didn't happen. But there are people who did think it happened, right? And then you've got this idiot God, this monster drowning everyone and everything except the people on the ark and the animals on the ark, which again did not happen, but I mean, this is pretend world here, right? So anyway, so then so then you've got that, right? And then you've got um again again the Israelites did not come into Canaan. They were already in Canaan. The Israelites are fucking Canaanites. They didn't come and conquer Canaan like the Bible said, but according to the Bible, again, we're in pretend world here, right? So according to the Bible, you've got their God saying, "Kill everybody." Yeah, kill everybody. And I don't care. Kill fucking everybody, you know? And so then, you know, then you've got these two people, right? Who are the sons of a priest, right? And they're not listening to their dad. But why aren't they listening to their dad? They're not listening to their fucking dad because the fucking idiot God says, "I'm not going to let them listen to their dad because I want to fucking kill him." What the fuck is going on with these people who think these are good stories? All right, verse 27. Now a man of God came to Eli and said to him, "This is what the Lord said. Did I not clearly reveal myself to your ancestors' family when they were in Egypt under Pharaoh?" Uh, got an answer for that, man of God? No, they were never in Egypt. Verse 28. I chose your ancestor out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest. He's talking about Aaron here. To go up to my altar, to burn incense, and to wear an ephod in my presence. I also gave your ancestors' family all the food offerings presented by the Israelites. Why do you scorn my sacrifice and offering that I prescribed for my dwelling? Why do you honor your sons more than me by fattening yourselves on the choice parts of every offering made by my people Israel? I can't let that go. He didn't. Eli didn't. You're the fucking one, God. You're the fucking one who says, I'm not going to let them listen to their father Eli because I want to kill him. Again, who the fuck thinks these are good stories? I used to think they were good stories. That was when I was brainwashed. Anyway, moving on. It doesn't really matter whether these stories happened because they didn't. Thank goodness. The point is, people tell these stories to their fucking kids. That's the problem. And they think they happened. They think they really happened. All right, verse 30. Therefore, the Lord, the God of Israel, declares, I promised that members of your family would minister before me forever. But now the Lord declares, far be it from me. Those who honor me I will honor, but those who despise me will be disdained. The time is coming when I will cut short your strength and the strength of your priestly house, so that no one in it will reach old age, and you will see distress in my dwelling. Although good will be done to Israel, no one in your family line will ever reach old age. Every one of you that I do not cut off from serving at my altar, I will spare only to destroy your sight and sap your strength, and all your descendants will die in the prime of life. Who thinks, who the fuck thinks this is a good God? Who the fuck thinks this is a good God? Christians, this is the fucking God you worship. This is the fucking God you worship. Think very hard about that. Think hard about that. Moving on, verse 34. And what happens to your two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, will be assigned to you. They will both die on the same day. I will raise up for myself a faithful priest who will do according to what is in my heart and mind. Well, if you're all powerful, you should have been able to do that to begin with, you fucking moron. I will firmly establish his priestly house, and they will minister before my anointed one always. Then everyone left in your family line will come and bow down before him for a piece of silver and a loaf of bread and plead, appoint me to some priestly office so I can have food to eat. What a reprehensible fucktard of a God. All right, chapter 3. The boy Samuel ministered before the Lord under Eli. In those days, the word of the Lord was rare. There were not many visions. Gee, I wonder why. Can it be that nobody thought of making shit up? Like, maybe they were too busy, like, you know, surviving. Verse 2. One night Eli, whose eyes were becoming so weak that he could barely see, was lying down in his usual place. The lamp of God had not yet gone out, and Samuel was lying down in the house of the Lord where the ark of God was. Then the Lord called Samuel. Samuel answered, "Here I am." And he ran to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me." But Eli said, "I did not call. Go back and lie down." So he went and lay down. Again the Lord called Samuel, and Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am, you called me." "My son," Eli said, "I did not call. Go back and lie down." Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord. The word of the Lord had not yet been revealed to him. A third time the Lord called Samuel, and Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am, you called me." Then Eli realized that the Lord was calling the boy. So Eli told Samuel, "Go and lay down, and if he calls you, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went and lay down in his place. The Lord came and stood there, calling as at other times, "Samuel, Samuel." Then Samuel said, "Speak, for your servant is listening." Okay, so according to this, Eli's not a bad guy. Why the fuck are you holding Eli accountable for his sons, who are grown, by the way? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any fucking sense. So, moving on. Verse 11. And the Lord said to Samuel, "See, I am about to do something in Israel that will make the ears of everyone who hears about it tingle." Hmm. Is that all you can do, God? You're supposed to be all powerful. You'd think you could do something a little bit more than make people's ears tingle. Verse 12. At that time, I will carry out against Eli everything I spoke against his family from beginning to end. Why? It's Hophni and Phinehas you have a problem with, not the entirety of Eli's fucking family. Verse 13. For I told him that I would judge his family forever because of the sin he knew about. His sons blasphemed God and he failed to restrain them. Yeah, but that's not his fucking fault. They're fucking grown men. They do what they want. Verse 14. Therefore I swore to the house of Eli, the guilt of Eli's house will never be atoned for by sacrifice or offering. Man, God's such a dickhead. Glad he doesn't exist. Verse 15. Samuel lay down until morning and then opened the doors of the house of the Lord. He was afraid to tell Eli the vision. But Eli called him and said, "Samuel, my son." Samuel answered, "Here I am." "What was it he said to you?" Eli asked. "Do not hide it from me. May God deal with you, be it ever so severely, if you hide from me anything he told you." So Samuel told him everything, hiding nothing from him. Then Eli said, "He is the Lord. Let him do what is good in his eyes." Yeah, he's God. So anything he does is okay with me. Fuck no. Fuck no. Moving on. Verse 19. The Lord was with Samuel as he grew up, and he let none of Samuel's words fall to the ground. And all Israel from Dan to Beersheba recognized that Samuel was attested as a prophet of the Lord. The Lord continued to appear at Shiloh, and there he revealed himself to Samuel through his word. Okay, I'm sorry. I just got to say something. Does that mean that God revealed his dick to Samuel? I mean, let's be honest here. God likes God likes throwing his dick around. All right. Chapter 4. Moving on here. And Samuel's word came to all Israel. Now the Israelites went out to fight against the Philistines. The Israelites camped at Ebenezer and the Philistines at Aphek. The Philistines deployed their forces to meet Israel, and as the battle spread, Israel was defeated by the Philistines, who killed about 4,000 of them on the battlefield. When the soldiers returned to camp, the elders of Israel asked, "Why did the Lord bring defeat on us today before the Philistines? Let us bring the ark of the Lord's covenant from Shiloh so that he may go with us and save us from the hands of our enemies." Yeah, because a box is really going to do something for you. Verse 4. So the people sent men to Shiloh, and they brought back the ark of the covenant of the Lord Almighty, who is enthroned between the cherubim. And Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, were there with the ark of the covenant of God. When the ark of the Lord's covenant came into the camp, all Israel raised such a great shout that the ground shook. Yeah, I really believe that. I believe that, like, I believe in fucking ghosts. Verse 5. When the ark of the Lord's covenant came into camp, all Israel raised such a great shout that the ground shook. Hearing the uproar, the Philistines asked, "What's all this shouting in the Hebrew camp?" When they learned that the ark of the Lord had come into the camp, the Philistines were afraid. "A god has come into the camp," they said. "Oh no! Nothing like this has happened before. We're doomed. Who will deliver us from the hands of these mighty gods? They are the gods who shook the Egyptians with all kinds of plagues in the wilderness. Be strong, Philistines, be men, or you will be subject to the Hebrews, as they have been to you. Be men and fight." What a load of bullshit! But then, of course, what do you expect? This book is bullshit from beginning to end. All right, moving on. So the Philistines fought, and the Israelites were defeated, and every man fled to his tent. The slaughter was very great. Israel lost 30,000 foot soldiers. The ark of God was captured, and Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, died. Well, like, no joke, they would have died on the same day if you got the fucking ark of God out, you fucking morons. Not only does this not make any sense, but these fucking moronic people are so stupid they can't even see that this makes no sense. All right. Verse 12. That same day, a Benjamite ran from the battle line and went to Shiloh with his clothes torn and dust on his head. When he arrived, there was Eli sitting on his chair by the side of the road watching because his heart feared for the ark of God. When the man entered the town and told what had happened, the whole town sent up a cry. So, wait a minute. Eli's fearing for the ark of God, but not for his sons. What kind of a fucking father is this? Is it just me, or are these fucking people moronic idiots? Jesus fucking Christ. I'm more concerned for a box than I am for my sons. What the fuck? Verse 13. When he arrived, there was Eli sitting on his chair by the side of the road watching, because his heart feared for the ark of God. When the man entered the town and told what had happened, the whole town sent up a cry. Eli heard the outcry and asked, "What is the meaning of this uproar?" The man hurried over to Eli, who was 98 years old and whose eyes had failed so that he could not see. He told Eli, "I have just come from the battle line. I fled from it this very day." Eli asked, "What happened, my son?" The man who brought the news replied, "Israel fled before the Philistines, and the army has suffered heavy losses. Also, your two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the ark of God has been captured." When he mentioned the ark of God, Eli fell backward off his chair by the side of the gate. His neck was broken, and he died, for he was an old man and he was heavy. He had led Israel for 40 years. And these are supposed to be good stories. I swear to fucking God. When are these idiots going to wake up to the fact that these are not good stories? Tired of all these fucking morons. Verse 18. When he mentioned the ark of. Okay, whoa. Okay, verse 19. His daughter in law, the wife of Phinehas, was pregnant and near the time of delivery. When she heard the news that the ark of God had been captured and that her father in law and her husband were dead, she went into labor and gave birth, but was overcome by her labor pains. As she was dying, the women attending her said, "Don't despair, you have given birth to a son." But she did not respond or pay any attention. So she named the boy Ichabod, saying, "The glory has departed from Israel because of the capture of the ark of God and the death of her father in law and her husband." She said, "The glory has departed from Israel, for the ark of God has been captured." What is wrong with these fucking people? I'm talking about the fucking people in Israel. Yeah, yeah, I mean, the people who think that these stories are real are fucking horrible too, but I mean, come on. Alrighty. Last chapter. Thank goodness. About to have an aneurysm over here. Chapter 5. After the Philistines had captured the Ark of God, they took it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. Then they carried the ark into Dagon's temple and set it beside Dagon. When the people of Ashdod rose early the next day, there was Dagon fallen on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. They took Dagon and put him back in his place. But the following morning, when they rose, there was Dagon fallen on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. His head and his hands had been broken off and were lying on the threshold. Only his body remained. That is why to this day neither the priests of Dagon nor any others who enter Dagon's temple at Ashdod step on the threshold. The Lord's hand was heavy on the people of Ashdod and its vicinity. He brought devastation on them and afflicted them with tumors. When the people of Ashdod saw what was happening, they said, "The ark of the God of Israel must not stay here with us, because his hand is heavy on us and on Dagon our God." So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and asked them, "What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel?" They answered, "Have the ark of the God of Israel moved to Gath." So they moved the ark of the God of Israel. But after they moved it, the Lord's hand was against that city, throwing it into a great panic. He afflicted the people of the city, both young and old, with an outbreak of tumors. So they sent the ark of God to Ekron. What is wrong with this fucking monster of a god? These people didn't do anything to him. Jesus fucking Christ. As the ark of God was entering Ekron, the people of Ekron cried out, "They have brought the ark of the God of Israel around us to kill us and our people. Thank goodness somebody's got some sense." So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and said, "Send the ark of the God of Israel away. Let it go back to its own place, or it will kill us and our people." For death had filled the city with panic. God's hand was very heavy on it. Those who did not die were afflicted with tumors, and the outcry of the city went up to heaven. Ugh. I don't believe this ever happened. Okay? I don't. But I mean, seriously. Seriously, if it did, why are you sending it to your own fucking cities? You know? I mean, come on. Jesus fucking Christ. Did anybody have any fucking sense? Um, it, according to this book, nobody had any fucking sense. Not even the Israelites. Of course, I'm not saying that nobody had sense back then. There were plenty of people who had sense back then. Why do you think we, you know, survived? But according to this fucking book, nobody had any sense. So, I mean, what the fuck? What the goddamn fuck? Oh, God. I what is good about this book? What is good about this book? You know, I watch Logic a lot. I like his shit. And I was watching him last night and he was responding to a PragerU video. And PragerU was talking about Judeo-Christian values and, you know, if we value freedom and blah 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 blah, then the death of Judeo-Christian values would frighten us and all that. No, no, because this is what fucking Judeo-Christian values are about. This is what fucking Judeo-Christian values are about. The 10 Commandments? Fuck the 10 Commandments. Go to Hammurabi's code. I mean, Hammurabi's code is definitely not what we would have today, right? But it was a lot better than the fucking 10 Commandments, okay? Just saying, better than the fucking 10 Commandments, you know? So, I mean, come on. What the fuck are you goddamn talking about? Judeo-Christian values. No, these are Judeo-Christian values. Killing everybody that doesn't agree with you. That's what fucking Judeo-Christian values are. That's what Judeo-Christian values are. Killing everybody who doesn't fucking agree with you. No. We do not need fucking Judeo-Christian values. We need to get rid of fucking Judeo-Christian values. Seriously. What good do you think, Christians, comes from this fucking awful book? Yes, the freak. We do. We have that right. So, I mean, what don't you understand? Thank you, Cryptomeria. What do you not understand about this fucking book not being good at all? It has no good advice that you can't find elsewhere. Love your neighbor as yourself. Well, that's great, Jesus. Guess what? The Hindus had that long before you even fucking said anything about it. Thank you, Cryptomeria. So anyway, it's just like I'm sorry, Cryptomeria. I get emotional when I have to read this shit. Sorry. Yep, absolutely, Lisa. They did not love their neighbors. See you later, Cryptomeria. I'm sorry for getting emotional. I'm just emotional with this shit, because I grew up with this shit, and it makes me fucking mad. It just makes me so fucking mad. But anyway, and I actually thought this was going to be a relatively nice live stream. I don't think so, Big Zebra. I don't remember that being a part of Samuel's story. I haven't read Samuel's story in a while. It might be. But anyway, but yeah, um I get emotional when I read the Bible because I'm like, you know, in my defense, I was young, I was dumb, I was brainwashed. But I'm older now and I can see that this book makes no fucking sense. Not scientifically, not historically, not archaeologically. To freak, because people think this is a fucking good book. That's why. People follow it. People follow this fucking book. That's the problem. If it was just the Iliad and the Odyssey, or like the Iliad and the Odyssey, where it was just, some literature, I mean, even the Iliad and the Odyssey is better than this fucking shit. But but if it was just like literature, if people just saw this shit as literature, I would not be so fucking upset about it. Tell me about it, Big Zebra. Tell me about it. Taram, I'm not going to say there is no God. And God of the Bible's not real. But I'd leave room for a deistic God. Or, Zeus like God. You know, so, something like that. But, you know, not the fucking God of the Bible. Mm-mm. Totally not. Totally not. Oh, that's okay, Taram. I'm an agnostic atheist and you're a Gnostic atheist. There's no problem with that. You know, we can still get along. I mean, it's not like atheists have a creed, you know. It's just, you know, our opinions and whatnot. But anyway, uh, yeah, I did not think I was gonna get so emotional, but I really and truly I forgot that First Samuel 1 through 5 had Hophni and Phinehas dying. I mean, I did not remember that that came so early in the book of Samuel, of First Samuel. So, anyway, but Cryptomaria, thank you again for your super chat. Thank you to all my members. Please, like or dislike if you want. If you haven't subscribed and you'd like to, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that bell next to the subscribe button so you know when I come out with new content. I do have a broken arm, so for the time being, I'll be doing a lot of live streams and not any edited videos because I need both arms for my edited videos. Um, I'm I go in for surgery on Monday. Um, and I don't know how long it's going to take for my arm to heal afterward. I know I'm going to need um plates and screws. I do know that. She's already told me that. Um, don't know how long it'll take to heal. But anyway. Oh, thank you, Big Zebra. And so anyway, I don't I know I won't be doing a live stream on Monday because um it will be outpatient surgery, but it I'm not going to be live streaming on Monday. I don't know about Tuesday. It depends on um how loopy I am on Tuesday. Thank you, Taram. And so let's see. Um but yeah, if you want to become a member, you can become a member for as low as 99 cents a month. Um just hit the join link. And I do plan on having my first members only live stream pretty soon. So be on the lookout for that. And other than that, I will see you guys later. Thank you for coming and have a great rest of your day. Bye.